Agatha, you said it best during the latest wrap-up episode where you're like, this is just like really bad fan fiction that just happens to be a real product. And I think when you said that, that resonated with me on like a like it within my heart because I was like, yeah, that's the Kara-Tur campaign setting in many ways. That's the Kara-Tur campaign setting. It's like, yeah, there's like a whole monk sect and they're all dedicated to silence, but they talk now.
Yeah.
Or like, there's a temple with tons of snakes,
Roll for
but they
snake.
but they also attack the people who worship them.
There's a snake
Like,
encounter.
But only one in
I did
20
roll for the snake
times.
encounter. Hold on. I did roll for the snake encounter. Let me actually roll the dice now for how many snakes we get attacked by.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's
11 snakes.
11 snakes attack you, and
Dang! That's like a good number of snakes.
and it's like, it's just like, I think the whole thing with Kara-Tur is like there have been some like weird kind of stereotypes that I would remove, but for the most part, up until this point, it's just been like one really bad fanfic, one really bad homebrew that
Yeah.
is like a major product. But that said, we're back. Another Asians Read Kara-Tur. We have the full crew here with us, and I'm going to predict, and I've unsuccessfully predicted our progress every single time, but I predict that we are going to finish the provinces of Shoulong today. So that means we have 2 pages to get through.
I don't know.
In the interest then of expediency, I think we should kind of reiterate something we
Yes.
talked about last time, where it seems as if the provinces are kind of stand-ins for how D&D treats race, with each province kind of being its own D&D race in the way that D&D tends to portray it as having a distinct and inflexible culture and values that are inherent to the people who live there.
Yeah.
So recognize that seems to be what's going on with these provinces, so we don't have to keep getting furious about it all over again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the reason why I want to get through the provinces of Shoulong is so that, oh no, next month for Asian Heritage Month, we can read about the spirit of show and the honor of show and the stature of show and
Yeah.
the clan.
The way of work.
And the way of work.
Stature?
Yeah.
Height?
Yeah.
We're all talking about heights.
Actually, it is. It is about that. It is
Yeah,
literally about
it
that.
is.
Wait, what?
Mhm. Yeah, it's 2 paragraphs.
No!
One
No,
really
I read
long
ahead.
paragraph plus one other small paragraph. But
Yeah,
yes,
so
no,
it's
I
a-
read
paragraphs.
ahead.
The men of Shoulong stand apart from those of the barbarian lands in being taller, fairer, and more pleasing. And of
So
more
they
pleasing
went literal
stature.
with stature, huh?
They were literally.
They did. They did.
I was joking. And
Now the only thing is, I wonder
No
if
joke, it's real.
I wonder if the next time around we make it to the feng shui chapter section.
There's,
Oh god.
Yeah, and then there's a spell. There's a spell. Spoilers. There's a spell called feng shui.
Wow, there's
perfect.
a section
Super.
there also within the empire are those whom we call non-men.
Great.
And
Perfect.
yeah,
That
woof.
one, I do remember that made it over to L5R too, with the non-people who you can just kill
Yeah, that's
and be
right.
fine
Mhm.
with. Yeah,
I think that was in
it was a bad look then, and it's still a bad look here.
yeah. But we have
I'd look everywhere.
we have something to I was about to say we have something to look forward to. We have an episode to get to, and in order to get to that episode, we need to get through the provinces of Shoulong. So that's our goal. I also want to, commit in advance to, any revenue that we generate, any donations that we get for all of May, we're gonna put towards charity. So every our Al-Qadim stream, our Kara-Tur stream, and our wrap-up streams, we'll put all of that to charity. So I'm excited for us to finally get there, since it's been a very interesting time to be Asian. We had a fantastic discussion yesterday when, live, when we talked about, Magic the Gathering, and we talked about, the model minority myth. And honestly, like, I'm grateful that we're having this discussion now, not only because like our character discussions tend to be lighter, but in, recent episodes, we've been far more constructive with how we would actually fix Kara-Tur, and how we would actually, what we would remove, what we don't like, and what we like. And I hope we can continue that. That said, let's get into it. We are on the province of Hangzhou. Now, Austin, as usual, is our map expert. Austin is our navigator.
Gonna find this place.
Yeah, you're gonna find this place. I assume it's gonna
Austin
be.
is our cartographer.
I'm assuming it's gonna be on that sort of like that eastern side.
Oh, I think I found it. I think there's a spelling disagreement. That would probably be why.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The province of Hangzhou borders part of the upper Hangzhou River and its tributary, the Chanlu. It is a lush, fertile area near the river, rising eastward to open plains and eventually rolling hills overlooking the sea. A great deal of rice and tea are grown here, as well as much of the silk produced in the empire. Hangzhou was settled early in the Hou dynasty as lords from feuding T-Arta and Shengti provinces fled to the south. Without their armies, the nobility eventually were swallowed up in the farming communities, turning to more peaceful pursuits. In the later Han dynasty, merchants from the south imported silkworms to the region, starting an industry which was unmatched for size or profitability anywhere in Kara-Tur. In 631, shortly after the sharing of meals, the imperial capital was moved from Xifeng, the Little Phoenix, to Haisheng, now renamed Kirin, where it remained until the Ivory Plague decimated it in 859. So let's just talk.
The first cultural exchange via food that's ever come up.
Yes, it's the first cultural exchange that's over food that's brought up. For me, it's like, yeah, they're near water. There's going to be monsoon. Definitely, like, gonna grow rice there. I get that. I think the thing that really holds this back is the fact that to make this seem more like a history book, they throw in like these dates and dynasties that they have no detail on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like
what is the Ivory Plague?
Yeah, what's the Ivory Plague? Yeah. What is the sharing of meals? Like, I want to know more about that.
And like, if it would be much more, it would be better in like a context point of view of like, if you could give us like an actual timeline, like an actual physical timeline of key events that are separated by the dynasties. Otherwise, it's just nebulous and just exists out of context.
Do we know if they actually have that? I haven't gone like through the entire book, but is there like a dynastic timeline in here somewhere?
Not from where we started. We just started reading, and there was no dynastic timeline.
Yeah.
But one of us can go through it and check. But the thing is, like, I think this book really suffers from its scale, right? They could have done just like a whole, like a little magazine-sized book on Hangzhou, and they could have just done the provinces of Zhou and done them in like a series of issues. But they kind of reduce like an entire big region into one little thing. But let's go to the people. Let's go to the people. Let's go to the people, because this is, where we tend to see the issues here. The people. The Hangzhou are known to be talkative, hot-tempered, and easily excited. On the whole, they are a pleasant group, although an old Shang proverb unkindly says, if earth mirrors heaven in all things, then the Hangzhou mirror the celestial one's chickens, always clattering. Chattering. Thank you. Dyslexia. A wide menu of rice, fish, chicken, duck, and shrimp has given the Hangzhou material For a truly fabulous cuisine, their cooks are famed far and wide and are usually found in the best houses of the empire. It was the Hangzhou who invented the tiny fried dumplings known as pot stickers, a current imperial rage. God damn it.
Yep.
My 30 years of eating dumplings are now full of rage and anger.
Usually, I was
How
like,
tiny are these dumplings?
yeah.
They're not that tiny. Like,
Okay,
seriously.
So like aside from like that is like just like a clear indicator that a white person wrote this. It's just like, have you seen
Stickers.
these exotic things known as pot stickers?
And then everyone in,
You can-
in
you
Eastern
can
Europe
actually
is going,
go and buy
you
them
mean
in real
these?"
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen pelmeni though?
I was look, I was kind of into it, right? Because they were like, oh, this is about food. First of all, like a wide menu, and it's just rice, fish, chicken, duck, and shrimp. Okay, cool.
Meat and rice.
But I'm like, oh, okay, they have a fabulous cuisine. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Please start talking about some sort of fantasy food. And then they were like, Hangzhou aren't famous for their restaurants. They're famous for being in-house chefs. And then I'm like, okay. And then they're like, the current rage in the empire are these dumplings.
Yeah.
These tiny little dumplings.
Tiny.
And it's just like, you went from like, you had my interest to like, bleh. And I think what would be really neat here is, honestly, if each individual province had their own regional cuisine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because China is well known for its different culinary cuisines. Like, you go from
Mhm.
province to province, town to town, city to city, and the food is different.
Mhm.
And that's what makes traveling exciting. And
But
but
hell, that's even the case in America.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
I followed like the burger historian, and I love watching his videos
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
regional burgers and their histories of how they came to be. Like that is the nuance of food, is that there's a strong culture that's built around the food, that's built from the food, and the food that's built from the culture. It's a nice intersection, and you get to see how a region manifests their culinary history by how they experience things. And you lose every nuance by just relegating it to just like a small little thing of like, they have these things. Okay, but what makes it unique? What makes it different?
So what would we do to make this unique? For me, I would focus honestly on the rice. If they're
Yeah.
saying that this is a lush, fertile area, and they are one of the main growers of rice in the show, then they've
can
got
do
to have
more
some
with rice.
really cool rice dishes.
Yep.
It sounds too like they just based on what they mentioned, they specialize in fowl and duck,
Yeah.
chicken. So yeah, you can do a lot even with just that space and those ingredients. Just making a very strong food culture around them. Also, map notes. On the map, it's spelled HGTSE.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
It looks like that was a cartographer error, a
yeah,
printing error.
probably.
Interesting.
I love
and-
these little map notes.
Yeah, and
With all stuff.
Keelan, however we choose to pronounce it, it doesn't connect to any main roads. It only connects through the walking routes.
Which again is like, doesn't make sense if it's supposed to be a big city as they keep claiming it to be.
Yeah, like there's a walking route between it and the beer city that shall not be named.
I guess
But yeah, it's
Samuel
just a walking
Adams.
road, and this should be a major trade route, because throughout the course of human history, what is the one thing that we've all, no matter where we live, really, really liked? Alcohol.
Alcohol.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I
And-
also
and that's more important than anything else.
And I say this as someone who doesn't drink. Like, alcohol is culture.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's
absolutely.
something that I would also change is if we're gonna take the idea like, okay, they're known for fowl and they're known for rice. Like, what if we change that like proverb, which really denigrates them, into like a point of pride? Like, maybe they just have the best chickens. Like, these are, because I mean, we have, again, to return to chicken diplomacy, like maybe these are where the prize chickens come from, you know? Like, maybe this is their mascot.
I would have even
Yeah.
said, like, if the proverb was like, even the heavens were jealous of how good the chicken tastes in Hangzhou, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like if Earth reflects heaven, then like the taste of the Hangzhou chicken is the closest we get to the heavenly chicken, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's
the golden chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they could even have like, there could be legends here of like, oh, maybe like a demigod lived in Hangzhou and they were just the god of cooking, right? They were just so good, and you could have even taken like a magic. This would have been the perfect opportunity for a legendary magic item.
A
to
magic
cook with.
walk.
A magic walk.
I want a magic walk. That's what I want.
Yes.
But here's the thing: if it was a magic, I would prefer a magic walk over like magic chopsticks. Because I think you could do right. Because you could do something cool with a magic walk, and you could say like, "Hey, this." They talked about this ivory plague decimated, this region here, and what if there was this legendary magical walk that could produce food, and they were able to solve a famine crisis here with this magical walk, and then it disappeared, or maybe it went back into the heavens. And every year they hold these grand feasts for the gods to thank them for that time, to give
And
back.
that actually dovetails well into like the lore that they're putting in the cities and places of note, just with the how this Keelan saved the city from the ivory plague. So you could have this artifact be perhaps made from some kind of part of the Keelan that was
horn?
left behind. Yeah, like carved of the horn that was given to save the city. And because they believe that they have this celestial protection, that goes really well with the, we're in tight with the heavens, so our chickens are amazing.
Okay, so this is my idea then. This is my idea. So in the cities or places of note section, it says Kirin, originally named Haisheng, the third imperial capital, was named for the huge Kirin, who visited the city during the years of the Ivory Plague, saving the populace from certain death. Citizens still believe the city has special protection from the Celestial Emperor. There are also numerous small cities and villages. Typical of these is Linsheng, a minor farming town in the Great Tochan Fertile Valley. Now, I think what would be really neat is that I hate how they say it, because the Kirin is the Japanese version of that creature,
Yes.
and it's Qilin in China.
They're not exactly the same either.
Yeah, they're different.
No, they're not.
But it's just like
also
it's a
a beer.
giraffe.
It's also a beer.
It's also a beer.
It's also a beer. But what if this Kirin came, and in my story, this walk, there was this granny, right? And she had a walk, and the handle of the walk was broken. And this Kirin came and gave a part of itself to fix the walk. And the walk is now both heavenly and of earth. And it's just this like divine walk that solved the famine during the Ivory Plague. Oh, that would be so cool.
That would
Yep.
be. I love this idea. Like, maybe the walk could change sizes. To
Yeah.
Oh, it could
accommodate,
change
like, lots of-
sizes, and it makes the food. It's like it's like the stone soup, like little children's story where it's like everything in it just tastes remarkably better.
Any food made in it, it's like Hero's Feast, but like it much better.
Max.
It's like the max
No
Hero's
dice
Feast.
rolling,
Stuff
just
like that, yeah.
max.
The
Like,
walk,
you just get 20 temporary hit points.
damn.
Congratulations.
And I think like the walk of Hangzhou would also be able to cook without a heat source, because I think
Yeah.
they wouldn't want it. Like, you could take it up into the mountains and still cook. Oh,
You,
that'd
you-
be
you just
neat.
have to sit on a bunch of rocks. There's no fire, and you just see the smoke coming out. They're like, "Where's the fire coming from?"
It would just
A
start to
walk.
glow. The metal would just start to glow. I think that
Yeah.
could be really neat.
I love that this maybe the steam that comes off of it like forms like dancing Kirin or whatever. It could
Oh
be,
yeah.
it could be so
Ooh.
pretty.
That'd be really cool. And I mean,
Or
it's
just beautiful chickens.
so it's a heat source, a source of entertainment, and a source of food and nourishment. So during the Ivory Plague, people gathered around it to keep warm. The children were kept calm by the dancing steam, and everyone was fed. There we go.
That's a pretty lit quarantine there.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Also, further map
The
note.
Steam is like, forget Netflix, we've got
Now,
Steam.
I will note.
yeah.
I will note that there is an item in Oriental Adventures that is basically like a cornucopia of endless food. But the difference between that and our idea is that that item just kind of appears in Oriental Adventures without any context. And here we're trying to work that into the story of Hangzhou. But let's keep moving.
Yeah, I did want one last map note.
Yeah.
Li Sheng is mentioned as a minor town, but it actually has a connection to the main road, which Kieran does not.
I feel like there are just a lot of cartography errors, just like missing
There
roads.
really are.
Like I also don't.
And they all bug me.
It's like, why mention Linsheng as a minor farming town at all? Like, why mention that?
I feel like somewhere down the road, like because the map was made later, I feel like whoever had the map notes did not check the notes for what was written to make sure they made sense.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just filling it with unnecessary detail. But anyways, let's go to Wang Kuo, the province of the kingdom.
Oh, so this is the
I
capital.
I need to take a moment to. I was looking at that.
Go.
Because Wang Kuo literally means kingdom. So I don't.
Yep. I realized that as Daniel says it. Wait,
I was like,
Wang Kuo? You mean Wongo? And I was like, really?
Kingdom, the province of the kingdom.
it's just called
welcome to
Kingdom of
Kingdom.
It's just
Province
Kingdom.
of the Kingdom.
I think that's
It's like
I think that's
welcome
the episode title. It's gonna be Kingdom, Province of the Kingdom.
What was that Keenan and Kel sketch? It's like, welcome to
Good Burger.
Welcome to Good Burger. Welcome to Wang Kuo. The province of the Wang Kuo.
Welcome to Wang Kuo, the province of the kingdom.
So but beyond that strange choice of words, this is the current location of the imperial city Kuotolang. It is in the center of a fertile river crescent between the Chanlu tributary and the Hangzhou. The area is well drained and crisscrossed by numerous canals and waterways. Much of the imperial city is constructed on the ruins of an earlier capital burned down in 2050. Although this region has always been heavily populated, it did not come into its own until 869 after the Ivory Plague decimated the imperial city of Haisheng. Ordered to leave by the Kirin, the survivors of the imperial family fled the area, moving to a small city at a juncture of the upper Hangzhou. This they named the new capital. With this exodus came an incredible influx of culture and trade, centering around the new imperial capital and the upland city of Pingchao, a major cultural center famed for its arts, cultures, and salons. In 2050, a great fire swept the capital, and it was rebuilt upon the ashes of the old site. The people of Wang are the largest group of Shoulong. They're densely packed cities, making up nearly 40% of the overall population. They are known for being unfailingly polite, cultured, intelligent, and sophisticated on the surface. It is the Wang who have set the styles of dress throughout the empire, published the most important writings, and produced the most famous plays. Of medium height and stature, they are fond of wearing the tight qiaosong or the high-collared mandarin's coat, usually in tasteful but heavily embroidered silks. Her skin is as smooth as a Wang's speech, is a common saying within Shoulong, reflecting the reputation for mannered conversation and elegance. And there really isn't anything else for cities and places of note that they don't already say. There's a lot to talk about there.
Definitely getting that Asian as effeminate and kind of two-faced from a lot of this. Points they build on some of the lore that they had just mentioned in the prior section, so that's good to see.
I
just cannot handle the naming convention that this section is inflicted with, because like the Wang is king. Like, what do you mean? I can't.
The people of King.
I feel like this is that scenario where somebody went out to like someone who they knew was Chinese and was like, I need some words for these sort of things, and then they came back with like these things like Wang Kuo, and then it's just like, oh, this just means this is just a name of a kingdom. It's like, no, it literally means kingdom.
It's like that story about Canada. It means the village.
Oh yeah, Kanata.
This land is called Canada.
There was a good short. What was that? I forget. There was a comedy short about that. It's hilarious. But yeah, for me, it's like they make this like broad generalization again. It's just like, oh yes, the people of Wang, they're like unfailingly polite, cultured, intelligent, sophisticated. On the surface, every single person.
Surface, yeah,
they're duplicitous. Like, that's such a trope.
It's noteworthy too, since this is the capital. This is the default. Like, these are the humans of this setting. These are the people who are supposed to represent Kara-Tur's culture in its default.
30% of the population.
They're the Han Chinese.
Yeah,
they're the Han Chinese.
Yeah. And that's actually reflected in the clothing that they've chosen. And I kind of wanted to just, I'm a fashion nerd, but to like, it's weird. So the Cho song is clearly a reference to the Cheongsam, which I'm totally not pronouncing correctly, but it bothers me because that item, that particular dress, wasn't really in fashion until the 1920s and 30s. And so that is, in comparison to like what's going on here, I guess from a fashion history standpoint, I'm just like, okay, clearly this is another example of just like creating a kind of Franken Chinese culture thing where we're just going to grab things from the near past and the ancient past, like, and just like ball them up together in like a strange katamari. Even
it being mentioned, honestly, just because white people fetishize that particular outfit.
It's
so much.
Or the high collared Mandarin's coat. I mean, like,
but they've already said said that the Mandarinate, they're bureaucrats. So does that mean that everyone dresses like a bureaucrat? Because they've already made that distinction. Or they wear the
super tight dress.
Or they're either like a 1920s. Like a Chinese woman, the way
like Wang Kuo.
Exactly, or they're like these bureaucrats from the Qing dynasty. It's
apparently there's nothing in between.
Yeah,
so yeah, we see like this fetishization again of like Asian women, and also just like why this is so weird again. It's like they created a whole word that's so similar to the original word that's like why you should just use the. I don't know.
Yeah, and then they
go this far.
The part that really, another thing that stuck out to me was it's like they say when they're talking about the fashion, and then they say usually in tasteful but heavily embroidered silks. But that but there.
Yeah.
Right. So remember, this is supposed to be written by an Asian character for a white character. So the Asian character's like, it's tasteful. But they ruin it with this embroidery,
which is like an interesting choice because you would think that it makes them unique because of the fact that they actually embroider the silks because they have the wealth and they're the capital. So that means they are more willing to accessorize their clothing and make it unique to their own fashion, as opposed to everyone else out in the rest of the country who may not have as much resource access.
TS underscore Terrapin in our chat made a comment that could potentially put this into context. They said that I feel like everyone dressing like bureaucrats aligns with, the way people saw Japanese salarymen in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's a
I
really
did
good
think
point,
about it.
Terrapin.
I did think about it, but I wasn't sure if that was the case, because that is true. Because during that time period, that's when that image was very prominent.
Yeah.
That's a really
A
good point.
sea of Japanese businessmen.
I firmly believe that most Western perceptions of East Asia and Japan in particular were sort of crystallized in the 80s. And then some of the fear talk around Japan and East Asian people really kind of crystallized in the 90s, and they get kind of mashed together. And these games really promote that. I don't know. This whole description just smacks of model minority. I know you talked about that yesterday on the stream, but this whole idea of the
model minority, but with that
It's like
very clear, but they're two-faced about
But
it.
it's model
Yeah,
it's
and
model
so-
minority mixed with dragon lady.
It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
so
And
I
the
read-
emasculation of Asian men.
yeah. So it's all of these tropes that are then being put through media. But I read a interesting article recently talking about how model minority and yellow peril became two sides of the same coin in the 80s. So model minority was fine as long as it was in comparison to other minorities. But then as soon as the model minority started doing better than white dominant whatever groups in the media, then they were like, oh, this is a problem. So they kind of went hand in hand, and that they're so good that are they going to be better than white people? And so they switched from model minority to yellow peril again. And yeah, the idea that those two things go together inseparably, I think, is kind of demonstrated here.
Yeah, I mean yellow peril and labor have been the story of, at least from my knowledge, have been the story of Chinese people in North America since we first arrived, right? We first arrived in the late 19th century, and it was their cheap labor is taking our jobs away. Let's go attack the Chinese people.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, the Chinese people are defending themselves. They're horrible criminals. And then,
Well, I mean, the very first explicitly racially motivated immigration legislation in the U.S.
Exclusion
was
Act.
against the Chinese, and the model minority yellow peril duality, that has been a thing. The internment of the Japanese was, and you have people who've admitted this, was a lot less about, oh, we think they're gonna join the homeland, and more they have a lot of stuff and we want to take it.
Yep,
Mhm.
that was very true.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing research,
so much generational wealth was just stolen during the Japanese internment in World War II.
When I was researching for 1940s LA, I was researching about the acquisition of land from banks from the Japanese farm owners, and I was reading about how they redistributed the lands and how much they sold for it, who took it, and I went through like a 2-month researching process on what happened to all the Japanese communities, what happened to their land, their homes. It was a lot, and I can only say that there was a lot of underhanded schemes involved.
Yeah, there's one. There's like a mochi shop near my house. I live near Japantown, and it's called Benkyodo, and it is one of the most remarkable businesses in Japantown because it has survived the 1906 earthquake, and it also survived World War II. Essentially, like the family was able to return and reclaim their business, and it's on its 4th generation now, and it's really a remarkable story.
It's incredibly rare.
Yeah, and it's very, very rare.
Very true.
I think it's the only one of the few businesses left in San Francisco that actually can claim that, because the rest of the businesses were just taken. Yeah.
But why
on
do
the subject? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I was gonna say, like, on the subject of like how we can make this better, though, like I feel like there's a really wonderful opportunity here to make this the fashion capital, right?
Yes, I
Like,
agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just like I'm looking at these and I'm just like, oh, I'm thinking of New York Fashion Week, I'm thinking of Paris Fashion Week. Like, this is where creativity like comes to be shown and seen. So this could just not just be like, so it could be like New York in that way. Like we not just have fashion, but we can also have, because of the wealth and society, we can have really cool like avant-garde artists and like really wonderful expressions of like creative freedom, essentially. I feel like that's a really missed opportunity here.
I would have actually from Hangzhou moved the silk note from Hangzhou to Wang Kuo. Right?
Yeah.
I would have moved that so they're like, we produce all the best silk and we turn it into the best fashions.
Yes. Yes.
And maybe they've got, these. And if you wanted to keep the silk in Hangzhou, maybe Wang Kuo, they have like a very fine kind of silk that isn't seen elsewhere. So even though you might have nice silk, maybe you have nice Shouleng silk, you don't have Wang Kuo silk. And so you could create like a hierarchy on silk quality. And I think that would be really neat.
Yeah, and
that's
or
what
like
happens
it's
in real life with fabric, anyways.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
or it's like this. There's like a specific kind that only like the nobility can wear, as how it was historically, and then there's a kind that only people within this province, the city, can wear, because of whatever reasons. So then, if you ever see someone like that outside, then you're like, "Whoa, this person is from Wang Kuo."
and I would think that because they're heavily embroidered, right? That means there's more designs, they're more intricate, there's more detail put into it. So like even that, like you can spot them like a huge difference between anyone else.
Yeah, and that's
And
a
it
mark
could
of
be-
status.
Yeah.
And you could actually even work this into like magical items too, like the idea
Oh,
of
for sure.
weaving and stitching magic.
Yep.
Literally, what if they had silk that was so strong that it could be armor?
Actually, that kind of is that has been sort of done. So yeah.
Yeah,
it wasn't
So,
layered.
Yeah,
silk.
layered silk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what if it was
Yeah.
just like the rich could afford silk that was not only flowy and breathable, but also was resistant to blades?
What's keeping this embroidery note from being the embroidery that they do can be imbued with powerful magic?
Yeah.
Like,
you
just like
maybe you
how-
have like characters or like symbols that can help like deflect arrows.
What about
or for good
familiars?
health.
What about
familiars? Yeah, familiars
Yeah.
that come out of the stitching. You have
Yeah,
familiars
well,
that come
awesome.
out of the stitching.
So like
awesome.
they have these court robes, like at the museum that I used to work at. They have these court robes that would take literally over a decade to make by hand with silk.
Yep.
They're incredible, right? And what if, you could have like magical spells or runes actually sewn in? Or what if just on, we were talking about magic and we were talking about the, what was that card with the scholar with the scroll, Michelle?
Lore
the
Hold.
Lorehold Apprentice.
Apprentice.
Lorehold
Yeah.
Apprentice. What if literally the people had these really, really dope silk like robes and the patterns moved,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Love
so
it.
cool.
Or you had these like multi-generational like pieces of clothing that were passed down and every generation adds a story to it. Or when the last owner passes on, they get sewn into it and their memory lives on in this clothing that people wear. And these are like treasured items that are passed on. And then of course if you want to take in like the old Chinese magic, you could say, well, these are sources of ancestral power as well. Like there is so much that you can do there.
And you can do like some of these items could even gain sentience, like Doctor Strange's cloak.
Yeah.
Like that would
Yeah.
be super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of lore in Japan where things that live over 100 years are more likely to gain, sentience and or like change form. It's,
Yeah. That I feel like that would be
Especially
so
with
cool.
with like that imbuing of kind of the ancestral memory that creates eventually. Like you could make creatures out of this, of like
Yeah.
just these intricately stitched ancestral garments that can speak to the wearer with you know the wisdom of their ancestors.
Well, not only that, what about the silkworms that are even making it, right? The silkworms that turn into beautiful moths, and these moths are also treasured as, you know, creatures that can speak to spirits.
I'm still thinking about the familiar thing and how that's like, if it's like embroidered on their like
it comes out as a thread,
their sleeves, so that they're just like go, and then like this fox jumps out.
I have this sweater with like a it's a pullover, and it's like it's a reminiscent of like those old 1930s like furs that you drape around your shoulders, but it's actually just so it's got like a cute little like leopard that like is draped over my shoulders. It's not an actual leopard, it's just stitched in, but I'm just like, oh, that'd be so cool. I'd be like, leopard, it's leopard time. But yeah, I think that would be such a cool setting, and it would really elevate this place to have its own unique identity rather than just they're medium people.
Medium-sized people.
They're medium-sized people.
They were
Congratulations.
Welcome to the capital. Here is your default.
Here's your default.
And like
you're too tall. There's like a stick at the when you come in. It's like when you go on a roller coaster. It's like
you must be this size.
To enter
I feel like this could have easily have become the point where it's like, because the capital is the capital, but we could have still had another cultural center, because it does mention, you know, Ping Chao, and it's like, why couldn't this have been the Kara-Tur's equivalent of Waterdeep? Like, that was my disappointment. It's like we missed that opportunity for like a really cosmopolitan city, and it's just nowhere, because I haven't seen anything remotely as close to that.
The problem is that they don't give any city that level of detail that Waterdeep has. Like, you know, they have entire books that are dedicated to just that one place, right? But here they go for like quantity over quality with this book.
And this really should be the Waterdeep of show. Just and how it's cast and everything like that. This should be the central hub. This should be, if you're presenting Kara-Tur as a setting, this should be where you start.
Yeah, and 100%. They mentioned like the influx of cultures, but then
do nothing with it.
That's not there. Yeah.
So I'm curious, Austin, where are these cities with respect to Wakan?
Oh my God, Wakan.
So Wakan was kind of north on that peninsula. So to get between Wakan and the capital city, you have a main road that kind of weaves through, and then you can detour sort of in the main province. Wakan has no road access in general,
because it's on that like little peninsula.
Yeah, assuming that these roads in the map were actually made the way they were supposed to be, and you have like a main road going up, you would go north through Kirin and through Tsingtao, and then there would be a road that would lead up to Xiang in Wakan, which they kind of have. It's just those are all walking trails, not major trade routes. And then there's just no road leading up to Xiang because no one seems to actually want to go to Wakan based on
one does not. Maybe you can only crab
simply
walk
into Wakan.
One must indeed crab walk into Wakan.
God.
I will say though,
I hate that.
there is a major river that flows into Loshan. So it may be that Wakan is most easily accessed by riverboat, in which case you are kind of going east. Which interestingly, if you follow these kind of river paths, your straight shot from Faerun or from the Abertoral or the main continent would actually, if you just keep going east, you would end up in Wakan pretty much directly.
Yeah, but I don't think they think of the maps as connected.
No.
Where they only think of going. Yeah. It's like you can't travel west, you have to go east.
Yeah.
Because then this isn't Asia. God. God, it's true though, because they focus on like, oh, Kozakura's there, but then everything about getting into Sho is all done from from what is west of Sho and east of the Europe. But let's keep moving so we can, because we've got a page and a bit to get through.
Yeah.
You can do it.
We can do it.
can
I
do
believe in
it.
us. Hi, Yuan, the maritime provinces. Agatha, do you want to?
I already hate this.
Okay, go.
Yeah.
Hey, Agatha, do you want to read this section?
But I first need to talk about the name again.
Yeah.
Because like Yuan is again like it's like a garden. It's like this it doesn't make sense for like maritime provinces to be called like a garden thing. It just
They even say that it's impossible to farm here.
yeah, I can read it. The land.
Which
Moving
is-
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was
No,
just
you're-
gonna say, it's funny. It's funny that they say it's inhospitable to farm here, but there's a ton of forests in this entire.
I just love how
province.
Agatha, you're like, I guess I'll read this.
The land. Just disdain on every syllable.
All right.
That name, okay. Moving southwest from the upper Hangzhou, the land turns from river basin to dense jungle and swamp, ending in a brackish tidal area at the sea. The many inlets, coves, and heavy foliage make this area nearly impossible to farm, but provide excellent cover for pirates, smugglers, and other brigands who still inhabit this area today. These lands were originally known as the Kara-Tur provinces, and indeed, the capital city of the province is still named Kara-Tur. However, at the time of the Great Pirate Lords, this region was mostly swamp and jungle. By the command of the first Emperor Qin of the Hai Dynasty. I don't know if that's a joke on like Hai as an ocean, but anyway, Hai Dynasty, the region around the city of Kara-Tur was drained and diked, making it into a fertile basin. In honor of this achievement, the province was named Hai Yuan, the maritime provinces. Okay. The people. The Hai are an adventurous race, but also arrogant, stubborn, and loud in bearing. They are also the most self-assured of all the show and seem to flaunt it with their incredible audacity. A Hai will attempt almost any feat simply because he believes that as a superior man, he will obviously succeed. They are sea traders and occasional pirates whose houses are built on stilts to protect them from floods, and whose ships are the fleetest of all the empire. They rarely eat meat, preferring fish, and have learned the dishes of sushi and sashimi, two types of raw fish, one with pickled rice, from the Kazakurans. As a counterpart to the ethereally beautiful women of Shengti, the Hai are said to produce the handsomest men in all the empire. And they know it.
Okay.
Do we want to go through the places real quick?
Yeah, Agatha, do you want to do the places first, and then we'll get into this?
Oh
Yes.
shit.
I'll finish this in one fell swoop, and then we can really
Yeah, I
take
think we
another
should just do
moment.
a read through of everything and then go into it.
Cities or places of note. Kara-Tur, the largest city, is claimed by the Hai to be the home of the legendary sea lords of Kara-Tur. Also on the coast is Taoshin, a large seaport city with trade to the east. Above the drained ground is Keelong. Oh my gosh, a high plateau city famed for its tea and extremely fine silks. Shanxin, a heavily fortified city, sits on the Tu-Long border, as does Miaoling. Both are known for plots and intrigues. In the ruins and almost lost is Shouyang, a deserted jungle city once terrorized by the Black Leopard cultists.
Okay.
There is so much in this section.
There's
Okay.
There.
this
Oh
is like
man.
this is like the Tortuga
Yeah, it's the Tortuga
of
of
like
Tortuga.
China.
show.
This is
Yeah.
Proto Mantis clan from El
Yeah.
This is straight up. Oh, welcome to Singapore, Captain Jack Sparrow. Like this is straight up that.
God, it hurts. It hurts.
Like first of all, like
Yeah, Terrapin. Yeah, this is absolutely the Proto Mantis clan. I'm
well,
very
I wouldn't be
convinced.
surprised because given the fact that this predates third edition L5R, which was written by wizards.
Well, and that's the
No,
thing is
yeah.
I'm seeing, and it's kind of interesting since I know a lot more about L5R. I'm seeing where some of the clans started in this, for better or for worse.
the Mantis are the seafaring ones, right?
Yeah, they're the pirates.
Yeah.
They're like the extra added on clan to the core rulebook that we read, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were
Mhm.
separate.
The thing with the
Weird.
Mantis is like they because they were originally called Yoritomo's Alliance because this big Mantis general united a bunch of minor clans and said, "Hey, make us a major clan, or else."
Oh, kitty cat.
So the reason why I was like, what? For the cities and places, first of all, I mean, aside from all the other things, like when I read Keelung is literally a city in Taiwan. That's why, because like my mom's friend is from there, but I was just like, huh? When I read that because, but it's kind of interesting because I think at some point like these island places like Taiwan sort of were, I guess, like where pirates tend to have their bases in. But still, I was like, and also the description of Keelung is different from the real Keelung in Taiwan. So it's just, that really threw me off. Like, it's not known for tea.
Yeah.
It
I
is a
wanna-
coastal city. But
Yeah.
I do want to point out, I think, and I'm betting this was an editing error, but they kind of said the quiet part loud in the people. The Hai are an adventurous race, and this is exactly what I was talking about. They are casting every single one of these provinces as a race.
Yeah. I don't think that's an editing error. I think that's intentional. I think they are they are trying to create.
They just
strange-
revealed what they were doing all along.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're just creating strange artificial difference between the people.
But in every other segment, it's always the people of whatever. The fact that it says race, I read it as like that's how they initially wrote it because they're used to writing other D&D style stuff where they just say race, right? But the editor was going in and changing everything to like the people of, and missed this one. That's my interpretation, but we'll see what the other ones say.
The impression that I've gotten from all of this is that they like race and people are just the same thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like it's. I mean, generalizations aside, like I mean, they say that everyone here is just like arrogant and loud.
flaunting.
It's a swash. It's like
They're all
They're
swashbuckling
it's
pirates.
a land of
Pirates.
Gaston. It's just
It's
all Gaston all the time.
No, pirate Gaston.
Have you seen?
Pirates
Pirate edition.
Gaston.
Have you seen Into the Woods? Have you seen Into the Woods?
Yes.
They go
Oh,
agony.
Agony.
That-
So much stronger than yours.
and then, but here it's just like, oh, they're so
Now,
they're so
here's the thing.
handsome, and
Well, here's the thing, though. We know they're pirates, which means there's only one other thing that means. That means they're shanties. Where are my shanties in this entire setting? I want my Gaston pirate shanty.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the we were just talking about food, and we should get into how we would make this better. But they're just talking about food, and then they're like, they're all pirates, and they just eat sushi.
Yeah.
This is like the trademarked high I'm not sure high yuan diet. This is how you can become your own, like you can become a Gaston of your own if you just eat
Can you
sushi and
imagine
sashimi
if
all
a
the
whole
time.
bunch of people
You
sitting
too
at a
could be
table
Gaston.
being like, they're like, I'm eating rice. Oh wait, no, I'm eating pot stickers. My character's from Hangzhou, and it's like I'm eating sushi. My character is from Haiyuan, and it's like, well, I have a nice code. I'm from the kingdom, and it's like, first of all, they're also saying that like they're also implying that since they live on these like stilts and stuff, that they can't actually cook fish and they have to eat it raw. And they've taken this elevated form of eating raw fish from Kozakura. But like, you can still cook.
You can still cook. Surprise, fun fact. You can still
as
cook.
as a component, I don't mind the cultural exchange from Kozakura with a heavily maritime province. Like I think
I
that,
don't think there's
tidbit
anything,
is fine.
I don't think
but
there's
yeah.
anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But they could have done it differently. They could say their cuisine was heavily influenced by that of Kozakura, right? But instead they say like they prefer fish and learn the dishes of sushi and sashimi. And it's like
They learned how to thinly slice and not cook their fish.
yeah. Exactly. And
Perfect.
I also really dislike how in games like this they just reduce all of Japanese cuisine into sushi.
Sushi and sashimi.
Yeah, I agree.
That irritates me a
Honestly,
lot.
the mention of sashimi is like extra credit Japanese. It feels like with everything we've
what?
seen.
They're like, I went to a sushi bar, everybody. I know the difference. And you're
yeah.
I'm still so offended that they just like threw in a real city in there and then like added all these other elements that had nothing to do with what the city was supposed to be in real life.
Yeah.
So have you folks watched Parks and Recreation?
yes.
Only
No.
random episodes.
Okay,
I
so
haven't
there's
watched
a lot.
Random episodes.
so there's a character and he's a member of the city council and he's the dentist, Councilman Jam.
Yep.
And he's this white dude with this like really problematic Asian fetish. And
God.
in the show, they go to his house, and he lives in this like mansion because he's a rich dentist. And his house is just decorated with awful Asian stereotypes. And he's like, "Oh, would you like to make breakfast?" And he's wearing this like really weird silk jacket, and he has a one of those. He literally made a Benihana restaurant inside of his house because he loves
He did.
Asia. That's
Yep.
his book.
Jacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That exactly. Yep, that
Yep.
tracks.
He became a teppanyaki. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, convenience. You don't have to drive to one.
So I do think on the constructive side, I'm kind of drawn conceptually to the idea of having a very machismo-based culture within the province, and with the fish culture, just because literally. One of the Vietnamese barbers who I went to said, you need to eat more fish oil so that you learn Vietnamese. So I kind of like part is
What?
yes, absolutely. This is definitely said to me by a Vietnamese barber. I am not making this up, I swear. But like, there's something about this that kind of speaks to me in the like, this province has this really machismo culture, and their whole thing is like fish make you strong. So they're all about the fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
like-
makes me think like there should have been other ways to handle the fish besides just sushi and sashimi. Like fish sauce would have been a thing because you can preserve the fish
Yeah.
longer. Pickled fish is a thing. There would have been
Absolutely.
a variety of pickled fishes.
Dried.
Everything
Fried.
fried. Like there's ways to eat fish besides the one way.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh, go ahead, Emma. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, on the note of pickling, I've never really thought of sushi rice as pickled rice.
Yeah,
it's like it's
I saw
not
that
wrong, but
too.
it's like strange.
I think that's
Very
just somebody
Western
not
way to
understanding.
say it.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's-
it's like
I think
put
that's
vinegar
just-
on it.
yeah.
It's pickled. Not
It's
really.
either that or somebody didn't understand like how vinegar works. Like this clearly was written by somebody who doesn't understand how food outside of a cheeseburger works.
On the
God.
constructive side of things, though, like we have an opportunity here to create a really interesting culture that is centered around could be centered around fish, like in the sense of like the culinary heritage where everyone's like, yes, fish make you strong, and that's why we're such good pirates and we're so good with boats, and we live so close to the water because we want to be close to the fish. And maybe that's why the people, it doesn't even have to be just the dudes, like everyone here could be like, yeah, well, I'm like a fish person from Taiwan, like you best not mess
machismo
with
doesn't
me.
have to just be men. Like it
Gaston,
can absolutely just
like-
be everybody.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we've seen throughout these sections is any talk about female women is completely missing, or they're just there to be pretty and have children. Like there was no mention of women whatsoever in this chapter, except for that babies have to be born. So there we go. How do you get those men if you don't have at least a few women?
I would also love for this to just be like, there's potential here to be like, you know, the people here are known for being excellent swimmers, right? Because they've all had to learn, right?
Something I would love to see is like there's a special fish that they catch that can be distilled into a water-breathing oil or water-breathing potion.
Yeah, they have special techniques, like special fishing rods, harpoons, anything for catching this stuff. They have special clothing that they can, you know, go into the water and come out of the water and their clothing won't be wrecked or anything like that. It's made of special fish skin. Who knows? Because, like, I mean, historically, people have made garments out of fish skin.
Yep.
So, like, that is not all that fantastical. Or the fact that, or maybe their fashion just looks like iridescent fish scales. How dope would that be, too, right?
I also think there's a really cool opportunity here to tie this all into this like sense of rebelliousness within this particular province, right? Because they're pirates, right? They're living on the edge. Like, I'm not saying they're all edgelords, but like they're like just a bunch of evil like pirates.
That every time I heard keratin, I was thinking of keratin.
Keratin,
you know,
like
nails.
Nails, your hair. So my brain
hair.
originally went, wait, so they're pirate lords with luscious Gaston hair that flow
That's what
into
I was
the
thinking
sea
too.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Here's the thing. Like, I was thinking about this, and then I saw that Terrapin brought this up in the chat. You know Qingxi, the pirate?
Yeah.
Perfect opportunity to put a character like that in here. Also, like, you could have put like a really rich history in here. These folks, like, who were pirates, people who used to work for the Navy, right? These folks could have been a part of, you know, a big naval fleet, and then, you know, the show government basically was like, we don't need this Navy, and these people they all harbor this resentment towards the bureaucracy because they were no longer needed. You could have had an entire city that is mobile, and it's made of these ships that dock to one another.
Yep.
Oh, it could have been
so cool.
right. Just think about like all these boats, or maybe some of the most ancient Hai Yuan city boats have roots of these trees that have grown through them, and they have become one with nature.
Oh, like mangroves, like
in the mangroves. This is so easy.
Honestly, like just looking at it, like I've already kind of in my mind turned this into Limsa Lominsa from 14. So like this is the province of all the pirates led by like this badass pirate lady.
Yeah, and I feel like there are aspects in here that are really good. Like this kind of like subtropical climate. It has good hints, and then like I do like the idea that like like what you said, Austin, the combining of we only eat fish, but we're also macho AF. Like that's a cool vibe. Like in terms of like interesting local culture, but then it becomes, if it wasn't cobbled together with all of these other snippets of all these disparate cultures and then slapped together to make this like, whoa, the sea city with pirates, like it could have been so good. It really
like based on our descriptions, I'm already like writing some kind of, this is like also perfect romance novel fodder. It's like handsome men like on the boat.
Oh, like, it's like there's like the like more fog and misty rain, and it's just like glistening hair.
It's definitely making me wonder if I want to, instead of playing a tourist and fish in the fog, play a pirate. So or maybe maybe
pirates can be tourists.
Yeah, pirates can be tourists.
Pirates can be tourists.
I'm still going to be Inspector Crab. I'm 100% going to be Inspector Crab.
Inspector Crab.
Private bureaucrat. I don't know. But yeah, like a lot of, again, good stuff made bad by this just like bad writing, terrible storytelling. And who are the Black Leopard cultists?
Yeah.
Like what the?
Yeah.
Like well, who knows?
Yeah.
But anyways, let's
they're not as handsome.
let's
That's
keep
what we know.
Clearly.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep us on track. Let's keep moving.
All right.
Go
Ka-
on to Gao Shan.
Gao Shan. Agatha, do you want to? Agatha,
Agatha's gonna die.
because I know what Agatha's gonna say. Agatha, go ahead.
Okay, so the next area is the province of the mountains, and the name is Gao Shan, which literally means tall mountain.
Tall mountain.
Welcome to Town Mountain, the province
This
of the
is-
mountains.
I think of all of the names that I've encountered so far, this is the most like, I'm a white guy, I know Chinese kind of naming.
Direct translation.
I-
of something.
I have a Chinese English dictionary.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Where is this province? I'm trying to find it.
Oh, it's on the
Like-
west.
Watch it.
Ah,
Is it in the mountains?
Oh, yeah, got it. Yep.
Hopefully it's in the
It's
mountains.
near Tabet. It's near Tabet. That's
Okay.
Yeah, that's
It
the thing,
borders
though. And
Tabet.
as we established earlier, the Tabet mountain range is cut off. The country borders actually cut the mountain range off. So it's by the mountain. Yeah, because I just found it. Gao Shan, yeah, it's by the mountains. No road access again. I'm kind of getting used to this by now. But the empire's border snakes around the mountains, so it's like right next to the mountains, but the empire doesn't actually own any of these mountains. They're not part of the empire.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm really upset with myself because I can mentally recall the Kara-Tur map in my head now.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
There is a
so
part of your
sorry.
brain
So sorry.
dedicated to that now.
There's a part of my brain
Forward
dedicated
out.
to Kara-Tur. Anyways, Agatha, what were you gonna say?
I do kind of want to clarify like why the name Gao Shan is like it gives me so much secondhand embarrassment. It's not just because it's like such a I'm not laughing out of awkwardness because it's a simple word that was just transliterated, but it's because like there's just something about the fact that like you didn't think about how people would name it. For example, in English, it's province of the mountains. That makes sense, right? Like, yes, like this province has a lot of mountains, therefore it is a province of mountains. But then if you wanted to have that as like if you want to take Chinese and name it as such, then you should look up the term for mountain range or something like that. Like that's just not how people who speak this language would call a place like this. I mean, of course, like if you go back to like Haiyuan and things like that, that's also very awkward for the same reason, because there's just these nuances were not researched into, and then so when someone actually speaks the language and looks at it, it's like a visceral like, oh gosh, I am filled with cringe. It's not just laughing at it because it's simple, it's because it's wrong.
Welcome
the
to Tall
the Chinese
Mountain.
character is tattooed onto a white person's arm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found the most in speaking to that, I found the most incredible Instagram account. So I don't know if all of you have Instagram, but on Instagram there is a user who goes by Liu_Chinese, and she basically reviews bad Chinese tattoos.
Oh my gosh.
And
no.
but she also talks about like, oh, why your English name sounds weird if you try to phonetically translate it into Chinese. And
Right.
it's a really good and educational account. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Liu_Chinese. I'll link it in.
I will say that I've stopped being like as I've stopped being as filled with cringe when I see bad Chinese and or Japanese tattoos, because whenever I go back to Taiwan and I go to like where you can buy like really cheap street clothes, they without fail have like the worst like Chinglish things on there, where they'll just like
Yep.
say, and some of it's like I would see like these grandmas like wearing the most offensive shirts that are just like slinging
Yeah.
swear words around.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like selling you veggies, and you're just like, oh gosh,
Oh.
I
I've
also
seen-
feel
I've seen
cringe from
those.
this.
It's
I
in
remember
South
I
Korea
got-
and China. I've seen it all.
Yeah, I've gotten I think my dad brought back a like Sailor Moon incense, like clearly like a knockoff thing, and like the box had like it was just the full lyrics of the Carpenter song "Close to You."
Why not? Why not?
Amazing.
Why not?
Anyways,
Yeah.
let's
Did we establish that Tibet is Tibet?
yes, we did.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
that we
thought.
did that like a while ago. Okay, so let's read this part. So, Gao Shan is a land of towering peaks broken by deep valleys filled with rich farmland. Great waterfalls thunder through the passes, dropping nearly 1,000 feet in some places. There are many misty passes, often snowed over in winter, leading through the mountains to distant Tibet. History. Traditionally a frontier province, Gao Shan was settled by Tibetans.
Gods.
If you ever doubted whether or not it was Tibet, Tibetans, seeking new farmland to the east, and exiled ministers and nobility from the imperial capital. It is still considered to be an unpopular posting even today, and to be sent there is usually a punishment reserved for officials who are high-handed or corrupt. The people. They are viewed by the rest of show as rude, uncultured mountain men, good fighters with the bow, but otherwise unsophisticated. Honest to a fault, the tall, rough-hewn Gao thinks nothing of telling a haughty Mandarin what he thinks of him, punctuating his opinion with a blow or two. The Gao are the only people of show to eat bear and tiger, and claim that they eat dragon when they can get it. A sure boast, in my opinion. Change in tone as well. They are excellent wood carvers and tellers of folk tales. Cities
So-
or places. Oh, go ahead.
This is written by a dragon, right?
Yeah, this is written by a dragon.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why the pot stickers are so tiny. Like my big dragon claws.
Oh yeah, Agatha. I don't know. Oh yeah,
Little
Agatha.
dumplings.
Agatha for context. Agatha for context. Because this is I think since you joined, this is the first time that the reading has gone into the first, like the tone of
First person,
the
yeah.
first person tone. So this whole book, the book we're reading, is supposed to be written by a dragon for a white wizard.
Oh right. Yes, I remember you explaining this.
I
to
feel
me.
like
Like
if
an
they're
offer.
committing to this, they could have at least had the dragon go off on an old man rant about the embroidery. That seems to be the
Yeah.
He just
That's
yeah, this
so
dragon just
funny.
starts just throws shade everywhere.
These youths and their fancy robes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cities or places of note. Kaishan, a now independent city seized by the criminal Sui Tong in. Wait, do we?
The tongs are later, I
Okay.
think.
Oh, wait, are the Tongs a faction in this?
Yes.
Fuck.
They have a whole section dedicated to them.
Yeah.
Okay,
do
well,
you
we're gonna-
remember
we're
we
gonna-
looked at that in the table of contents.
We're gonna have a talk about that.
Yeah.
In 985, is known widely as a place of vice, corruption, and shady dealings. Okay,
Shady.
shady. Like,
Honestly,
I think
like-
the aside from like they're uncultured mountain men, it's like, oh, Jon Snow, we're sending you to the wall.
yeah, there's just not much here. Like,
But here's the
Austin,
thing: this
do
is
you
a
want to point
huge-
out the fact that they're nowhere near actual mountains?
well, that's just it. Is that they're reasonably close to the mountains, but the mountains are not part of the empire. Like, the mountains are not part of the empire.
So this should be province near the mountains.
Yeah,
Right.
So, okay, let's assume that they are in the mountains. If we are going to make this better, let's first say,
Mhm.
yeah, they're going to be in the mountains, not near the mountains. Thing I would change is, like, you got to really lean into the fact that, like, A, if they're in the mountains, they are miners. right? They're going to have a lot of precious resources. They're going to be very valuable. However, since they're maybe on the border with Tabet, maybe there's some contention over who owns the mountains and who can claim the mountains. And, when you dig too far in the mountain, where does the border end? We talk about that. If you're going to talk about, they're good fighters with the bow, if you're going to place emphasis on one particular weapon, you got to explain that. So if you say, hey, they're great with the bow, maybe it's not that they're skilled with the bow, but maybe that archers from the province of the mountains have a bow made from from a tree that only grows in the mountains, a highly resilient bow that you could not only use to shoot arrows, but you could strike with.
Yep.
Right?
Or you could potentially say that they have really good eyesight just because they're up in the mountains.
Or great eyesight. But then you go into
also it's more strategic to actually use a ranged weapon because you have the high ground most of the time.
Yeah.
It's over.
Honestly, I would
Anakin.
have swapped the bow with the axes from the horseman people, and I would have just traded those two.
Yeah. I also think maybe it's instead of mining, it could be lumber, right?
Yeah, or
because
lumber if
they're
you do
in the
that.
forests, and that makes sense, and that ties in especially with the woodworking, right?
Yeah.
So this could be another opportunity for a really amazing culture that just has these intricate wood carvings and
Tree houses.
part of they have tree houses, but also carvings, and maybe these carvings can come to life. Maybe again there could be some kind of magic in the carving of these pieces
carved out of the mountain range.
If you're talking mountains and tree houses, that suggests to me a culture that places esteem on being closer to the heavens. So a culture that seeks out the highest point to dwell.
Yeah.
But mountains without that's I don't know about for across China, but in Japan the mountains are the place of spirits and magic. And so any discrimination against people who throughout history have lived primarily in the mountains wasn't because they were considered uncultured and rude. It was because they lived too close to the other world. And so mountains are dangerous. They're closer to things that we don't understand, and so the people that live there are also
who is it in L5R who lived in the mountains? Is it the dragon?
Dragon, yeah. The dragon. They're the mystical
monks, Shaolin
monks,
kung fu monks. Yeah,
they're the ones keeping track of all of the history, despite the fact that they never interact with anyone or come down from the mountain.
Yeah.
That's just because Sagashi Okuni is a friggin' pompous asshole. I say as a former dragon player.
That is fair.
I would love to know why they are the only people to eat bear and tiger.
First of all, bear,
Also,
you can't eat, you can eat bear, but you probably shouldn't. There are a lot of reasons why you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't eat bear. And also, I think they're trying to give them the impression there's a couple of things here. One, it's I eat the strength of the bear. I consume its heart, and thus I gain its strength. Kind of that scene from The Office when Dwight was like, "I consumed my twin."
I have the power. I have the strength of a grown man and a baby.
Yes, it's this, but bear and tiger. But it also ties into the and then we see, especially nowadays with the with the pandemic discourse, we see a lot of othering of Asian cultures, especially Chinese culture, with the things that they eat that people think are weird, right? So I think this is an example of that. It's ooh, they eat bear and tiger, exotic.
Also, tiger are not especially mountainous, if memory serves.
But this is also, I think they're leading into the forest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, if it's in the forest, it makes more sense. If it was mountain tigers.
Okay, so producer Daniel is cutting in because we've got half an hour left, and producer Daniel notes that we have 1 page worth of text left to get through. We can do this.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
This. Okay. All right.
Yui? Is that it? Yeah, Yui.
Okay.
E?
This is the way it's written.
We look at a name and go,
I love how everyone was like, okay, let's go. And then
the province of friendship.
Oh boy.
Friendship. The high mountain peaks, shrouded in ever-present mists, the province of Yui is rocky and cold. Snow frequently falls at the higher passes near Tabet. There is deep snow all year long. Farming is rare, and then only on high terraces and mountainsides. The Yu raise goats, the only province to do so commonly. Okay. History. Important only as a military pass into Tabet and the west, Yui is known for many years as a place of strong but friendly people. In later dynasties, overbearing taxes and garrisons of border troops caused this warm welcome to sour, ending in an abortive rebellion in 1771. While the rebellion was crushed, the 16th Emperor Qin showed great enlightenment by withdrawing most of his troops and allowing the people of Yui a greater amount of self-determination in the years after. The people. The Yu are much like the Gao in nature, being descended from the same stock. They wear heavier clothing and are more touchy about their independence. It is very easy to provoke a Yu to a duel. Wow. Cities or places of note. Taichan, a small, heavily defended garrison town, has maintained a fierce independence for the bureaucracy for the last 20 years. The Temple of Saigai, a massive place of worship built by unknown peoples over 8,000 years ago, still dominates the icy high pass. It has been long deserted. The entire pass is believed the den of some evil horror. How is this the place of friendship?
Yeah,
That's what I want to know.
It's basically it's just a tiny border province. Like it's just a tiny border fort that somehow has its own province. It's further west than Gao Shan, which had that like, oh, they're uncouth and unwelcoming. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
How is it still considered like a garrison town when they're like
There's no military.
There's no military.
Yeah. People just live there. It's
Like-
not. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like they said, okay, the military can either leave or stay. It's like, no, apparently all the military left. So then why are we calling this still a garrison?
Like one of the things that they could have done is if these people value their independence or maybe neutrality from the politics of the empire, perhaps, this is a place where, people meet to peacefully negotiate. Or this is a place of cultural exchange. But that's not what they did here. They're just like, these are these like strong and friendly people who got like taxed and they were occupied by the military.
Friendly.
And they're
You can easily provoke a you to a duel. Like that's not friendly.
That's not
Well,
friendly.
they used to be friendly and then they got dicked over, so they're not anymore.
I think what could have been very cool for a province of friendship is if also like one of them is where two leaders like historically signed a treaty of some sort. So then that could explain why the people are not friendly, but it's still called the province of friendship because it's a symbolic thing. Yeah.
Or it could be like because they're so high up, we could tap into that being closer to the divine again, and then like maybe it's a friendship. It's supposed to be like an agreement between like man and the divine or something like that.
Oh, that's really sick.
Honestly, if it were me, I would have combined Yui with Gao Shan and had a city that is the city of friendship with its treaty history. I don't honestly see any reason why they're separate, especially because Yui is such a small province.
Well, I mean, you could have two things. You could have like
the same stock.
You could have like a city where treaties take place, but I like Agatha's idea of like this is in the heavens, and people also. This is not only the city where political treaties take place. This is also a city where people go to make offerings to the heavens to make sure that everything is okay. Right?
Oh, yeah,
this
that's Michelle's idea.
Oh, was that Michelle? Sorry. But this is also, what's really neat is that they talk about the mandate of heaven here, right? What if this was a place where the emperor or empress comes to make tribute to the gods
in
order
like
to
so he can get
Taishan.
anointed? Yeah, to
Yeah.
make tributes and to be anointed the first time. Like the first time you become emperor or empress, this is where you come.
Yeah.
Make a
Instead of
pilgrimage.
Saigai being an abandoned temple filled with evil, it could be an active, like,
It may be
big
how
temple for this
Yeah.
important ritual.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you want to still keep the evil, you can be that the temple is actually meant to hold an ancient evil that was a danger to, Shaolong before in the ancient past, and that's how they formed the pact of the mandate to heaven.
It could be that every new emperor has to go and like
Or they
arm
could do it-
wrestle this.
Yeah, arm wrestle. Arm
this
wrestle.
evil
What is this?
spirit.
With the talismans like on the chain.
Oh, yeah.
The chains, yes.
What is this, like Luke going to Dagobah to face his dad in the forest?
Yes.
That's what this is. Okay, let's keep moving. Chu Yuan, the Bamboo Plains. Okay. Chu Yuan is dense and endless jungle of bamboo, thick underbrush, and poisonous creatures. The heat is oppressive, the air muggy and thick. There are standing pools of water everywhere, filled with mosquitoes and leeches. The people of Chu Yuan are hunters and woodsmen, as farming is nearly impossible. Agatha's face. I love it. The Bamboo Plains have traditionally been a place of mystery and danger, shunned by most Shou, who only go there to cut the rich timber or trap rare animals, until the great battles of Xin Lu and Xin Ginsen in 2315. What year is this supposed to be written? I'm also really curious about that. Chu
It's just
Yuan.
numbers.
Chu Yuan was of no military importance to the empire. Now, as a major border with Tulong, it supports several garrisons of troops, although these seldom venture far from their secure bases. The Chu are a suspicious, insular lot, as befits a people who have had generations of warring Shou and to trampling their homes underfoot. Small, thin, fond of wearing light clothing and hats, they are the masters of the jungle ambush. Oh, I know what they're doing here. They are the only Shou, other than the Mandarins, to commonly wear mustaches. The Chu are said to have amassed great fortunes among their clans, money made in the sale of rare woods, animals, and herbs, which can only be found in their jungles. They are also known empire-wide for their food, which features parrot, monkey, snake, and other unusual game. All of it served with throat-searing, eye-watering hot sauces. Cities or places of note. Yantai, a central city, is located at the edge of the Hangzhou Valley, where goods from Tibet are often traded. Taitun, a central river crossing at the lower Hangzhou, is frequented by merchants buying rare herbs and medicines. Travelers claim the food there is especially fiery. Chuting, a craftsman city in the edge of the great forests of Chu Yuan, is a source of fine mahogany furniture. Pingtung is the site of the temple of the Xingten, while Sentai houses the monastery of the White Snake. What's with the apostrophe there? Li Ping is a major garrison town on the Great Tungpu Road to the Southlands.
Is this colonized Vietnam? This sounds
This
like
is colonized
It sounds like
Vietnam.
colonized
I
Vietnam.
immediately was like, this
Yeah.
is colonized Vietnam. 100%.
This is like northern Vietnam. Yeah,
Yep.
most definitely.
Oh.
Exotic.
It's just
So
like
there's that.
We eat,
And then also bamboos. Like when they say, oh my gosh.
First of all,
Like,
bamboo doesn't grow in standing water.
yes,
Yep,
it doesn't
yep.
grow in
It just
standing
doesn't.
water.
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
can't.
That's not how it works.
bamboo doesn't grow in marshland. Also, how do you have what is it? that
Neither
they
does
said?
mahogany.
Yeah.
I guess. And how do you have a forest of bamboos and also mine or not mine and also get timber from there? Like what?
They got rare woods, but also all bamboo.
Like what does that
That's-
mean?
Also, the map has like
Bamboos
no
are not
green
jungle.
in this
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say
wait,
the
is
map
that-
doesn't
is-
have any green.
Is the
It's
map
a-
just
it's a-
beige? Is it just
The-
beige?
yeah,
Yes.
maps is beige.
It's all the mahogany, yo.
Oh no. I know why. It's because it's the bamboo plains. It's the bamboo plains, so that's why it's beige.
So, like in Magic the Gathering, like because plains is white.
Yeah,
The
bamboo
steps
plains.
were white. All the steps
Bamboo
were
plains.
white.
Yeah.
I think they're thinking like bamboo like wheat, where it's just like it only grows as tall as wheat. It's like, no, they don't.
You know, I think.
I just
well,
love how it's just
so-
like.
I'm so confused about what this
First of all, from like a food
place is supposed
perspective,
to look like.
they're
Where
like,
does the hot sauces come from?
well, yeah, they're like throat-searing, eye-watering hot sauces to outsiders.
And that's more of a Thai thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they're,
I was
like,
like,
conflating.
oh, it's like they're clearly like, oh, jungle ambush. They're totally going for that like occupied Vietnam,
Mhm.
and then they hit hot
Mhm.
sauces, and I was like, what are they doing here? But I feel like the hot sauces, combined with like the parrot, monkey, snake, is just all like, let's just make this as exotic as possible.
Yeah.
This sounds like a white guy who went to Vietnam and then like tried those for tourists like animals steeped in vodka or whatever, or like Everclear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
Yeah,
yeah, exotic.
my father actually had the wine with the snake in it. Apparently, it was a lot better than the rice wine that he also tried. I wasn't gonna touch either because I don't drink, but apparently it was actually pretty good.
I just
Yeah.
That stuff is supposed to be very good for, well, I mean, if for like bruises.
I have that story.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the snake Johnny Walker.
Yeah, but I'm just so confused about like what biome is like. I just can't picture
The
it. Like,
biome
it's-
doesn't make.
This is
any
this
sense.
is
Ecologically, it's just no.
Yeah.
This is that
yeah.
Minecraft. This is that Minecraft biome where it's like there's a mountain, then there's a jungle, and then there's a plains, and it just all meets at one. And you build your house
but-
right at the juncture of all of them.
Yeah, because it's like there's bamboos. Okay, again, bamboos. How does that become a plane? That doesn't make sense to me. Also, of course, there's the naming convention that we don't need to talk about anymore. But like, it's bamboos, and then it's suddenly jungles, and there's like it's marshland. Like,
Also, like, do you find parrots in a bamboo forest? I don't think you find parrots in a bamboo forest.
no, bamboos
No.
just don't. It's not. And also, like, there's not a lot of undergrowth in usually where there's like, at least in my experience with like bamboo growths, like it's just for some reason it's always very spare. I don't know
Shallow.
if it's something about.
Yeah.
I think it's something about their leaves, like the acidity, but I'm
Also-
not actually really sure.
Also,
Bamboo also
bamboo can
outcompetes
grow in
everything.
mountains as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mostly see them in mountains and hills. Like they're not.
Yeah,
hills.
Not in plains.
Yeah.
Bamboo is just like a specialized grass, so it kind of outcompetes everything around it.
Yeah.
It like takes away all of its light. Its root mass is massive underneath, so not a whole lot else can grow with it. But like, where are our pandas? Like, we have an opportunity here. If
Yeah,
you're
so-
gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
growing a forest,
Thank you,
like,
Emma.
Why did we not
Bring
talk
us some
about bamboo
pandas.
shoots as the
Yes.
cuisine? Because
Yeah.
bamboo shoots
Yeah.
are
So good.
So
So
good.
good.
They're so good. Well, we could have had pandas. We could have had red pandas. We could
Were
have
they
had.
just like pandas? Too much.
This is
Red
too
pandas in the
much.
mountain region.
Tsingtao as
Pandas in
a
the
beer
mountain.
town. That's
Honestly,
fun.
though,
They
Pandas
probably
is
they
too
probably had a
far.
they probably had
No.
a mood board, and they were like, Tsingtao, hot sauce,
Yeah.
pot stickers, and then one person in the writing room was probably like, hey, what about pandas? No, that's a stereotype, man.
Too much. Too tiny.
We've gone
Honestly,
too far.
given the writing here, they might have said that they eat the pandas too. So like, I'm
Oh, good.
in this
Oh,
sense,
whoa,
I'm,
whoa,
I'm
whoa,
okay
whoa,
with
whoa.
that omission.
Yeah.
I'm betting you though the parrot was actually originally panda.
You never know.
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
my face.
I'm already like cringing out of my skin on this thing. So like,
Yeah, let's move on. We have 15 minutes to get 2 of them done.
We can do it.
We can do
All right.
it. Come on, Agatha. Believe. Tianlun, the plains of dispute. The land is ravaged by years of war. In some areas, nothing grows, not even grass. The grass is like, people are fighting. I don't want to grow. Great stones of cities lie piled up atop each other, and through the center of the land runs the shattered road of Cao Tang. Its huge paved stones split and torn as by an earthquake. Expect no help here, nor sanctuary. This land is forsaken. history. Site of most. Wow, the tone change. Site of most of the major battles of the Tu-Lung-Shou-Lung conflict. That's an author's note right there. They were just like, okay, site of most of the major battles. Move on, and that's how it made it in here. Tianlun is the site of the Shattered Road and the Battle of the Crimson Wheat in 2315. Since this time, it has been the scene of several other great skirmishes, including the betrayal of the Hangzhou Tree Garrison in 2318, the conflict of the Silver Clouds in 2335, and the Battle of the Hammer 2413. Tianlun is only tenuously part of the empire, and the emperor must go to great effort just to keep it that way. The people. The Tian are descended from the Wang, and as such have the same smooth skin, clear eyes, and medium stature. But at this juncture, the resemblance ends. Ravaged by years of war, the Tian have become hostile, violent, and sadistic. Fond of cruel tricks and sharp knives, they can no longer be trusted by any of the Shou people, and they repay this distrust with a xenophobic hatred that borders on the maniacal. It is said the Tian makes a fell partner, a dangerous companion, and an untrustworthy lover. He is even worse as your enemy. Cities or places of note. Central to all is Chaodou, a half-ruined, battered city in the middle of the Shou-Tu-Lung conflicts. Shou-Tu-Lung conflicts. Constantly captured and recaptured through the last 200 years, it has been partially reduced to rubble.
So this is like where all of the Chinese villains come from.
Yeah.
So what's that?
But they
What's
look
that
just
saying?
like the. But they look just like the normal folks. So like, watch out.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's just like a baby is born in Tianlun, and it's just like, suffer!
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, what is that line? The "I will be your villain" Hante? Like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes,
From
yes.
L5R.
Clan.
From
this
L5R.
this is Scorpion, and they're like, we need general baddies for this setting. Let's make a land of them.
Also, they don't eat anything.
No,
They just
because
don't eat anything. Nothing
people
grows
doesn't
here.
eat
I wanted to
food.
ask Austin, like, where
Yeah.
where is Tianlun?
So Tianlun
Why do people want it so
it's
much?
just east of Chu Yuan. It like Chu Yuan borders this Tu-Lung nation. So it's kind of like south of Haiyuan. I honestly I thought that Chu Yuan and Tianlun were the same province at first, but it does appear that there's a border between them. But it's basically of the two major border provinces, you've got Chu Yuan and then you've got Tianlun, and they're just kind of like that. Interestingly, though, Chu Yuan actually has a larger chunk of the national border, it looks like, because it kind of snakes all the way down south. So it's got a much larger, it's just that there's a lot of mountain barriers, so that there's only one kind of choke point access.
Right.
Yep.
I
This
just
is
want
where
to like
evil people
throw this whole section out, rewrite
Yeah.
it into like something more about like controlling trade, and I feel like that would be a much more like a better way of characterizing this region.
Yeah, they haven't given any reason for why the emperor would want to go to such lengths to keep it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just like
what's
it's all
important about it?
ruined, and it's just like
It's ruined. The people are horrible. Like, okay, let
So
them do
like,
that.
why?
I don't get it.
Why must we keep fighting for this land? Like that's
Yes.
the question.
Like, what is the advantage of?
Clearly it's because of honor.
oh,
no!
Of course.
We
Also,
cringe, but I know that explanation's coming up somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's the honor of show.
Just a
Also,
bunch
just
of,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, a whole group of people just walking around constantly with knives and like glaring at each other.
It's like
whole
West
freaking
Side
city.
Story, just constantly, just like.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do agree, though. I definitely get some proto-scorpion vibes from these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, yeah, what do they eat? Like,
that's the thing.
because
Like,
nobody
they're-
trusts them. Who would trade with them? And then not even grass.
Nothing
in
grows
this
here,
place.
so like what?
So do they eat rocks?
They
Are they
oh
eating
maybe
anger?
they maybe
Cannibals?
they
Their
are.
spite.
Yeah, well, I would say maybe they are sustained by their hatred,
By
Yeah.
their xenophobia?
by their xenophobia.
Oh my
Phobia.
god.
There's a reference
Yeah.
to crimson wheat. Maybe that's what they eat. I don't know.
I
The
love
only
the
thing-
imagery
they-
of
they-
crimson wheat because it's like blood on wheat.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
was gonna say maybe that this wheat only grows in places of violence. So they're like, well, the only way we can grow our food is to be violent. It's just so bad. All of this.
Yes, this is wow.
Yeah. Every time
think
they
this
kill
is-
someone, for the noms!
like like I know that in all the previous ones we've talked about, we've been like, okay, here's how we would fix this. This one, I would just be like, just get rid of it.
Please
Yeah,
just
no,
get
this is
rid
the
of
first
it.
one. I'm just
This
like,
is,
and
just cut.
Yeah,
Um,
like you can write a good border conflict. We've kind of talked about that with some of the Tabit stuff.
Yeah,
This ain't it.
no,
This
that's
ain't
not
it.
it.
Yeah.
Also, like, what is with the name of these? They're like great skirmishes. Like, no, these are battles. They're not skirmishes. Just go with it. Great skirmishes. No, Battle of the Hammer. What the fuck is that?
Again, historical things that are written in that have no context to anything that's going on.
Like, this is
There's
just
no-
like useless flavor
yeah.
in a book that is literally just all flavor, since this is a campaign setting.
It
Mhm.
really threw me off when we switched to the 2000s on the last
Yeah.
page because everything
Yeah.
before had been like less than, I don't know, less than 1,000 for the most part, and it's just like 2020. I'm like, what the hell?
I think this.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't they say this is like a 5,000-year-old empire or something like that?
Yeah, but
So-
but we don't know what like
And
the
then-
Yeah.
date is, and also like I think the date switching, Emma, is a really clear indicator of the change of writer.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Definitely.
I
I think
agree.
they have a change of writer. You can even tell like the tone is different. In previous ones, we saw them switch to the narrator. Here, especially at the start of the history section, they just say site of the most of the major battles. Like, it's just so matter of fact that it's almost like somebody just copy and pasted notes into it.
Mhm.
Which they very well could have.
Yes.
Also, we should probably this is a short segment,
It's
so we
so
might want to
short.
just dig into
Yeah,
it.
let's
Yeah.
get into
Yeah.
it.
Just
Every
dig
time,
into
here's
it.
the, here's
These
the
were
thing.
notes. Like someone didn't even try here. They're
Every
just
time,
like, "Oh, sure."
every time I see Arakin, I just think of Anakin.
Yeah,
especially
I
in
thought
font.
Yeah, me
Anakin,
too.
especially in this typeface. This
Yeah.
typeface is like not great.
And it's like
No.
mounted, so it's like,
No.
ooh, the high ground.
The irony.
Yeah.
It's
The
over
irony.
Arakin.
It's over Arakin. I have the high. Or no, so it could be Arakin is just sand, and then they just have like, and then they'll just have a place, and they'll just call it Obi-Kwan or something,
Oh my
and it'll be
God.
mountainous, and then they'll border each
Oh
other.
God.
And then they'll make the people of Arakin be really hateful. Yeah.
They hate the sand, but they live there.
Yeah, just, I hate you. Anyways,
But yeah.
you were my brother, Anakin.
It's really hard to go
Um,
there. When people go there, it's really difficult to follow.
Yeah. So, anyways. So, the land, rough and rugged mountains, descending gradually into rolling foothills as you approach Chu Yuan and the bamboo jungles. That's it. And it's okay. History. Arakin is considered to be a backwater province of little importance other than its boundaries with the east. Its major historical note is an appearance of the Impossible Palace in 413, which people are still talking about. The
Hey.
people, the Arakian are also fierce mountain men, much like their neighbors of Gao Shan. Cities or places of note. The only site of significance is Sei Kung, capital of the province and the site of an appearance by the Impossible Palace. The end.
This
So, like,
didn't.
no
this
explanation
didn't
of
need
the
to be its
Impossible
own
Palace.
province
We
either.
talked about the
Impossible
Impossible
Palace
Palace
earlier.
before.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
where
we
the
have- we
narrator,
have-
like the person or the dragon that's writing this, lives in the Impossible
Little
Palace, which
palace.
just
Yeah.
It just
randomly
appears.
plops down
Oh,
in various places,
Yeah.
And
perhaps crushing everything below it. They don't specify.
It's like
Specify.
the Impossible Palace is like an extra dimensional home
yeah,
that crosses over into this world periodically.
it's a little like Danny the Street from oh gosh, what's that really good show? It's a really good DC show. I forget what name it is, but it shows up and it just doesn't
I don't know.
crush anyone.
Honestly,
But-
the Impossible Palace to me, because it's kind of the same era, reminds me of the magical forest of Wayreth and the Dragonlance setting, where there's this idea that the forest will find you, so you'll just be wandering, and then suddenly you'll be in the
Right.
forest. That's kind of the vibe I get from the
Chat
Impossible
was like, "Are you
Palace.
talking about Doom Patrol, Michelle?"
Yes, Doom Patrol. I'm talking
Okay.
about Doom
Yeah.
Patrol. Danny the Street's great. It's a very good show. But
It is.
the thing that is kind of it's so clear that nothing happens here. So in the previous section, we see that events are taking place in the 2000s. The last time anything of note happened was in the 400s in Arakin, and people are still talking about it like it's a suburban, like, ooh, Shayla put like an inflatable duck in her front yard in 413. How novel for Easter. I don't know. It's clearly like this small backwater town. Like, I don't know, it could be Tatooine, I guess.
Really, this as well as the Yui should have been all part of Gao Shan, and
yeah, I agree.
just had some distinct additional cities, because like they're all in the same cluster, they're all kind of the same people.
This is again this like quantity over quality.
Yeah.
It-
And this is definitely not quality, because you can tell no one gave a shit about this particular section.
Yeah. So that said, we got to our goal. The first
did it.
the first episode, we reached our page goal. We
Oh
got
my
through.
gosh.
Wow, fam, we got through over 2 pages today.
Yo.
Hey!
Yo. Wow. Yeah, the next section is spirit.
The next spirit
Stature.
is spirit, stature, and honor.
Honor.
And I predict that we will not make it past honor.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Because if we keep going, Agatha, we're gonna get to a whole section on feng shui.
Yep.
Oh.
Let's just be prepared that we're gonna have to rage about there being samurai in China. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, they have
yep.
a
that's the
table.
thing.
They have a table.
They have a table. Hmm.
And they say samurai is called a knight or noble in Shoulong.
Yeah, it's like how the emperor is a samurai, and we're like,
And a Hangzhou yoga.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that goes back to them feeling like they needed to make a separate class, which is still a thing as of 3.5.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if 5e still does it, but
They had a
special.
samurai
There's still a
subclass.
samurai. It's in what's the book?
Xanathars.
Xanathars, yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
Xanathars. Yeah, I've been, one of my players is like, I was thinking about, this makes sense for my character, but I hate the name. Like, I hate the name too. I don't know. We're just calling it S class.
S class.
We're just calling it S
S-class.
class.
I am a 4th level S class. That's actually
Wait,
really
oh
cool.
my
gosh,
Soldier.
Well, if we
I
can make it
scrolled
through
ahead to
feng
look
shui,
at
we can
feng
talk about
shui.
clothing. We get to talk about
No,
clothing
Agatha,
finally.
don't.
Agatha,
Don't do it.
You're just gonna hurt
Don't
yourself.
go
Come back.
Don't go ahead. It hurts too
Come
much.
back.
Y'all.
Oh, by the way, I should also
Don't
point out
work
they
twice,
also
like-
I find it weird that they decided to put the 8 trigrams removed from the feng shui, which I'm just like,
So one
why
of
are
the
there
things
2 different parts?
So one of the things I was thinking about is we should find somebody who knows a lot about feng shui to come on to talk
Yeah.
with us about that.
My knowledge of feng shui has deteriorated. I used to know
I
way
have
a lot more
I have
about
no
it.
knowledge of it.
I know some, but not enough.
Yeah, I know enough to put my plants in the south, the southeast, south.
I
and
have
that's
to
it.
still buy the yearly books on like what's the change of my feng shui for the year.
And
everything.
audience, this is why it's important to understand that not all Asians know about everything Asian. That said, we have hit our 2-hour mark on our stream.
It's a very productive stream.
This is a very
Was,
productive
yeah.
stream. I
Mhm.
want to thank y'all for, in the audience, if you're watching us live, if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're listening on the podcast stream. thank you for joining us for this conversation. Thank you for learning with us. Thank you for laughing with us. Thank you for being deeply disappointed with us. This was
a crushing disappointment.
No, sorry, being crushingly disappointed with us.
I feel like we were able to give good constructive ideas of
Definitely.
what some of these
Definitely.
concepts would look like if realized.
I think our
treated
ideas
with-
for this one, I think these were our best ideas for replacements.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. That said, thank you folks for tuning in. Next month, on the first Saturday of May, we are going to read into the spirit of the show, the stature of the show, the honor of the show, maybe the clan, maybe the way of work.
I believe we can do it.
But-
we've spent so many hours talking about honor already
Yeah.
on this stream.
Yeah.
Surely we don't need to rehash that.
Yeah, that said, we are going to do all of our sub earnings, all of the donations that we receive in May will go towards a charity. We'll find something for that. Perhaps we'll put it to a vote between all of us, and we'll figure out which one suits us best. That said, thank you folks for tuning in. Thank you for watching, listening, and learning. We love you. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.